Hi, my name is Jamie Lynch, and you are listening to Eating Habits, my podcast about everything restaurants. I will explore the human element of the hospitality business, and I'll talk to the who's who in restaurants, explore their stories, and hear what's on their minds in the ever-changing landscape of the food and beverage industry.
Hey guys, my name is Orlando Pagán. I'm the executive chef of Wild Common and Cannon Green, and you're listening to Eating Habits.
Awesome. Thank you, Chef.
Good, you're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
No, you. We're here in your restaurant, Wild Common. This is a beautiful space. How long have you guys been here?
So the whole building, I think we've been here for about 10 years. Wild Common itself, we opened about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been the executive chef since it opened?
This whole time, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Give me a little history. Where did you come from? How did you get into cooking? How you ended up here in the States and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I'm from a town called Luquillo. It's on the east side. It's a small beach town. So my first job, I was a busboy at a restaurant. It was a country club. And I was pretty bad at it, I was like 17 years old, just nasty attitude, when you're a kid.
I barely remember that.
But I always, I was always in love with food, Me and my uncle used to watch Great Chefs of the World. I mean, that was something that we watch religiously.
Who was your favorite chef? Who was your favorite episode?
Because
I used to watch that too, and I know specifically who my guy is.
So there is a guy that, and I actually tried to replicate this dish, and I just failed miserably a couple of times. As a young cook, but I can remember his name. It was a chef in Chile, and he had a lentil stew, and then he would take lamb loin and roast the lamb loin in the bone, take it out, slice it, and kind of lay it, like fan it on top of the lentils, 80s, 90s
Oh, yeah,
style.
totally. I love that style of food, man.
with the little, lamb jus, and then he put the good old rosemary on top.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this guy is just a genius.
He was a Chilean chef.
It's a Chilean.
You
I
don't
forgot
see
his name.
a lot of...
No, it was.
Is he a popular chef? Is he well known or?
No, he was not. He was not well known, and I don't know. That was like that dish always stay in my head for some reason. Because I love lentils.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Mm-hmm.
But
Jean-Louis Paladin was my. When I saw him cook, I was like, "Holy shit! I want to be a chef. Like that guy's a badass."
So
like the French dude in DC.
Yes.
Cooking sweetbreads and shit. That I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah. So he, I worked flash forward. So I was in Puerto Rico, and then I love food, so I started working in the kitchen, and then I wanted to do better, so I moved to Miami. It was probably one of the most difficult things I've done in my life because I moved by myself. I understood the language, but I was not like fluent.
Okay, so you took you took English in school or whatever, and I
mean you understand, mostly for movies and stuff like that.
Okay.
My mom, she speaks English. Like she worked for the government, and she'd be like in communication with the government here, and they kind of like, nothing major. She was just worked for the water company. It's not like she was
Sure.
She was just so I moved to Miami, and then I went to Johnson & Wales, and then I started working over there in restaurants. And one of the restaurants that I worked was called Biscaya Grill. It was in the Ritz-Carlton, Coconut Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked there for 3 years, and that's when I met this guy. His name was Patrick, French guy. He was front of the house, but he was a chef or a cook, and then he took some time off, and he introduced me to Jean-Louis Paladin. So I bought his book, and he worked for him.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I got to know about Jean-Louis Paladin.
Cool.
I bought his book. He told me the whole story when they were doing the book, that Jean-Louis started taking, cooking, and this photographer was taking pictures, and then he died. Jean-Louis Paladin died.
Yeah.
And they realized there was no recipes.
Because everything was off the cuff.
Exactly. So then his chefs, like his all-time chef, kind of start making the recipes.
Yeah, piecing it together. Like this is probably what we would have done.
Exactly. Yeah. But and that's how talking about Jean-Louis Paladin, that was the story. But one of the main reasons I wanted to be a chef, number one, I thought it was really cool. I was never good at school. I was never good with I hated reading. I hated all that stuff. I wanted to do is like working with my hands. And then working at this restaurant in Puerto Rico, the chef's name was Jeremy Cruz. He was like, the hot chef, like, I think he was a captain of the culinary team at the time. And I remember all the girls were like, oh my God, Chef Jeremy. I'm like, dude, I want to be like this dude. Like, oh my God, I want all the girls. And that was my main reason, to be quite honest. And then I moved to Miami, and I was there for about 5 or 6 years, and then from Miami, I moved to the West Coast. I moved to San Francisco. I spent 13, 14 years there.
What prompted that move? Like, why go from, Miami? I feel like Miami, I can see that being a good gateway, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people from, the Caribbean there. It's like the whole vibe down there is like beachy. Yeah. I can see you kind of fitting into that vibe. What made you think about heading to the other side?
Yeah, so there was a couple of reasons. The first one, I always love wine. I always love, wine and food. I always, it was one of those things that growing up, my family was not, we were not rich, we were not poor, but my mom struggled, my stepdad, they struggle, and wine was not a thing, but wine was a thing that I was like, wow, this is really cool. For me, it was amazing. And the first time I did like a tasting menu when I was in Miami, and they pair wine and food, it was just like a light bulb. Yeah. Like it just went up in my head. And I was like, this is just incredible, And I wanted to learn more about that craft, because I think, making wine is like, it's amazing, It's not like you have, steak and you put sauce and you make this, you gotta,
it's alchemy.
It
it's
is,
like some weird medieval stuff going on in there,
and even, you talk to a lot of winemakers and you're like, fuck is wrong with this person, you know what I mean? But it's like, they're just, it's just like, it's crazy. So, I remember I had a 4-day weekend and I just went to San Francisco. And I walked the whole city, and I just fell in love with the city, and just made that decision. And
okay, I need to know what, because I feel our trajectories are similar. So when I was a culinary student, I did my first internship in San Francisco.
Okay.
For Michael Mina.
Oh, for Mina, okay.
At Aqua.
Aqua, wow.
And I remember I'd never been to the West Coast at all. I'd never been over there, and the executive chef of the school hooked me up with the internship. He kind of took me under his wing. He saw me as being kind of like a badass. It was like, all right, I'm going to put you in a good spot. And so he hooked me up with Mina. I'd never met him. I didn't know anything about him. Yeah. I just was like, my chef tells me to go here, I'm going to go there. So I get off the plane, take the bus into the city with my pack.
Yes.
They drop me off in the Tenderloin.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
And they're like, okay, here you are. No place to stay.
Yeah.
No, like I think I had a couple $1,000 like saved up to like figure it out. And I looked up the hill, I was like, what have I done? Mm-hmm. Where am I?
Yeah.
So what about San Fran drew you? Like, you walked the city. Like, how'd you do that?
Yeah, it was one of those rare, those rare weekends that it was not cold. It was like perfect high 60s, low 70s, which doesn't happen. It's always cold. Yeah. And it was just perfect. I mean, we walk. It was me and my wife at the time. We started dating, and it was like, I mean, it was magical, to be honest. Like, she's from Miami, born and raised in Miami, so all she knew was Miami. All I knew was Puerto Rico, Miami. So it was like a different culture.
Yeah.
We walked Chinatown. I'm like, what is this place? Like, I want to be.
Can you
here.
put your finger on like something that stuck out as being a magical new place? Because I know that feeling. I remember. I have some thoughts about it too, but I'm curious what.
Yeah.
What
it was
really,
to me, like, what I thought it was amazing. It was how different every neighborhood was. Unfortunately, I feel like that is.
And they're close.
Yes.
They're like,
it's just like one block is Chinatown, and then you cross the street and you're in Little Italy. And, you know what I mean, in North Beach. And you go to the Mission, and it's completely different. And I thought, I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. And to me, that was, I was done. I want to be here. I want to live here for the rest of my life, which I thought it was. But then things changed. The city changed. It was not the same. So after a couple of years, Did
you move to San Fran? Is that where you guys lived?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We lived when we first moved. We moved to Hay Street.
Okay.
Upper Hay.
Oh, yeah.
Upper Hay, which is really cool. So we moved
I ate
there.
mushrooms there one time. That was horrifying.
A
lot of weird hippies and stuff going on. I was like, whoa. I was like, That was a mind-bending experience.
Yeah, the first weekend we got there, it was the Hayes Street Fair.
Yeah.
And we're walking around, everybody's just smoking weed.
Yeah.
And giving weed to people. And I was like, man, these people are crazy. There was a cops walking by. I'm like, everybody's going to get arrested here. Because I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But yeah, it was a good city too.
I have a story for you. And I haven't told this story publicly much.
Oh, man. Should we get your lawyer here? Or
No, I think it's okay. It's okay.
Good,
I think the statute of limitations is
cool.
way gone. I was off for the Hay Street Fair when I worked at Fermina at Aqua. So me and my best friend, still my best friend today, we ate a bunch of mushrooms. And we went to the Hay Street Fair. And I was losing my mind. Like, wow, this place is crazy. And walking down the street is the sous chef with like two of like the senior line cooks like hanging out, and they notice us and come over and they're like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" I was like, started freaking out. I'm like, "Oh my God, my boss knows." Like I'm losing it over here. And I was like, I think I was 20, 21 years old or something. I was just like a kid, and I started freaking. It was like,
what year was this?
God, that had to have been 98 maybe? 1998 or something. Damn. I don't know, a long time ago. Yeah. Anyways, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, please. You're good. But yeah, and then, so that's what basically draws us to San Francisco.
Yeah. So how was your experience cooking there?
Oh, it was amazing. I moved there and I've never been afraid of work. So I had no job. Yeah. Nothing set up, people always, I do that a lot. I don't know. I'll do whatever I need to get done, So I was not very concerned. And then I got a stage for Gary Denko. So then I started working for Gary.
When was that? What year were you there?
Either 04 or 05.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gary is like, at that point, he is well established.
Yes.
As kind of the godfather of San Francisco.
Yes, exactly. We will go out and, we go out and eat. And it's something, honestly, that I feel like we don't do as much as before. Like, industry people will come to a restaurant, you take care of them. Mm-hmm. This is people that they share your same passion. You know what they go through. You know how difficult it is. You know how some people don't appreciate what you do. So we will take care of them. So that was over there. We go to a restaurant, and they will say, "This is Gary's boys," and then that was it. Like, food started coming in, drinks started coming in, and it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's something that I never experienced before. So, right. But I worked for him for about 3 years, maybe a little over 3 years. But it was an amazing experience. So.
What was what positions did you hold?
So when I started working there, I was fish entremet. And then I was the fish guy. After I was the chef de partie, I took care of all the fish station, which was really cool because every chef de partie, like, you order your own stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't screw up your order. You know how it goes. I remember one time this is 18, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I forgot to order I-86 Bronzino. And like calling Vassler, he was kind of Gary's chef de cuisine. He was a really good friend. He passed a year ago, fortunately. Really amazing person. He was like, I made this guy so angry. He was, yelling at me, and I was like, I want to just die right now. Like, please, God, just take me right now.
Yes.
And that was the last time I ran out of fish.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really awesome experience.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like those intense, like, formative experiences as a young cook, I'm not sure that they exist the way they did for our generation, for kind of the new guys. I don't know. Yeah. What's your kind of kitchen ethos here? What's your style in the kitchen? You don't seem to be like a raging lunatic to me. You seem pretty chill and pretty.
Yeah. I'm sure some people are going to listen to this and they're going to disagree with you. Like you said, growing up in the industry, I started growing up in the industry in 97, late 90s. So that was the thing. That's still how you manage people. I have chefs when I was in Miami. That's how they manage. It was, it was yelling, and I thought that's how you do it. Growing up in that,
that's how I learned.
I thought that's how you do it. That's how I learned. I feel like that was the best way that I will learn, you know. So for me, I was like, okay, this is the only way to teach somebody. This is how you do it in the industry, because you hear all the stories and all that thing, you know. And it was maybe up to a couple of years ago that I started realizing that there's other better ways, you know. I married a psychologist, so
That's helpful.
So it's
nice.
very helpful.
It saves you a lot on those,
Yes,
those therapy bills.
Yeah, I did. You know, I took therapy for many years myself. You know, it's something that I'm glad that people are more open about mental health, because I feel like in the past, you know, mental health was a taboo. You know, especially in different culture. In my culture, Hispanic, you know, you're like the man, you know, you're a man and you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to just swallow your pains, your thoughts, your emotions, and then, you know, and that's it. But, you know, the way I run my kitchen, this is my family, you know. I think they know when I say I do anything for them, they would do the same for me. I hope so.
Yeah.
But, you know, I care about them. I always say, when you're in these four walls, my job is not only to teach you, is to keep you safe.
Yeah.
For you to be here and don't think about the world. I mean, let's be honest, like, the world outside is your shit. You know?
Yeah.
I keep getting notifications about stuff and it's all negative, you know, and that's, you open your eyes, it's negative. Middle of the day negativity, you know, and it's like, so my job here is just to make sure they're having a good time, and you know, and we do have a good time. So
good. So Gary Danko, 3 years. Is that when you moved to Charleston after?
No.
Or did you stay?
No, I stayed there for 13, 14 years.
Okay, so you were there for a while.
Yeah,
out
I was there
yeah.
for a while. So after Gary, I helped out a friend open a restaurant, and then I was the chef de cuisine at Silks, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. And then from there, I was the executive chef at Ame. Ame was owned by Hirosone.
Yep.
So I was there for about 2-3 years, and then I had this really cool opportunity to help Stuart Brioza open Staber Provisions. Like,
cool.
He was a good friend, and you
Yeah.
know, I was like, this is gonna be. I need a break, and I just want, you know, I told him I just want to cook. I remember the conversation.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just want to cook, just want to help with this. And he's like, dude, I can't afford you. I'm like, I just want to cook.
Yeah.
Like, I need a break. I was kind of burnt out. I was working too much. At that time, I was feeling ill. I didn't know what it was.
Gotcha.
This is like 2009. I was feeling sick, so I feel like I was burnt out. But you know, eventually I got to know that it was, you know, it's just out of MS. You know. But I worked for Stuart. We opened Staber Provision, and that was the most fun I ever had.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun to kick back.
You weren't responsible for everything. You just got to do your thing. You got to cook,
Exactly,
and you got to like do the thing that you love.
Yeah, I just cook. I was super happy. I mean, I remember, you know, people coming in. You know, I remember Chris Casa from Metalwood. He came in because the kitchen, I've never been to Staber. Kitchen's in the front.
Yeah.
He opened the door and he's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm just having a good time.
Yeah.
You know? So I was there for about 8 months. You know,
Nice.
I just wanted to help with the opening, and then I pretty much burned all my savings because it's so expensive over there.
Right.
And then from there, I joined Spruce. I was there for a couple of years, which is really cool. You know, the whole restaurant group, Bacchus Management Group, amazing group. You know, I learned a lot. Mark Sullivan. I mean, I worked with some amazing people there. And then from there, I was at Aziza for a little bit with Murad, and then I took over the Village Pub, which was, you know, the same people from Bacchus. And then from there, I moved here to the East Coast.
And the Village Pub, that's a Michelin restaurant, right?
Yeah.
So how much of the cooking that you're doing now, your style, your approach to food, is directly related to kind of that time in San Fran, that kind of...
I'll say a lot.
Yeah.
You know, a lot. I like, you know, I don't, your cooking change with how, you know, with age, I believe, you know.
Maturity and experience and all that 100%. Kind of stuff.
So, you know, right now, like, I love Asian food, so I do a lot of Asian ingredients. In here, you know, we have some Southern stuff, and I feel like, you know, it pairs really well. You know, that's my executive sous chef, Zach. He's been with me since day one. And, you know, he puts the Southern flair, and then we'll kind of mix stuff, which it works really well, and it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of times it makes you work harder, you know what I mean, just to make something work and work together. So that's, you know, it's really nice.
What is your guys' approach to, like, so let's talk about the food a bit.
Yep.
Just tasting menu only.
Yes.
Here. You like that style, obviously.
I do, yes.
You've been kind of in that wheelhouse for a while.
For a while.
How do you guys approach a menu? What, like, from in your head, what does a proper menu look like for a tasting? Like, what ingredients does it need to have? Or structure does it need to have?
No, absolutely. So, you know, I like to start. I don't know if this is gonna make sense with you, but with a bang, but kind of like not so hardcore. You know what I mean? Like you've seen the snacks that we have here. You know, it's like packed with flavor. So you are kind of like in your mind, you're like, oh, this is gonna be a good time. This is gonna be a good meal. You know, and then one of the things, you know, and I'm sure you had experienced this when you go to tasting menu restaurants. Once it's going through the entree, like it's kind of like fall off a little bit, you know. So we try to keep it still engaging, still like something different. You know, I always say the wow factor. Let's just have a wow factor, you know.
Yeah.
And then dessert, which I'm not a pastry chef, but I like, you know, something that I deny for many years. Like, I don't like doing pastries, blah, blah, blah. I really do like doing pastries. So, and I feel like, you know, working there, we don't have pastry chefs. So, you know, I work together with the guys. And then a lot of times they're like, oh, I want to do this. You know, what do you think if we do this, this, and that? And in my head, I'm like, yes, fuck you. It's a lot of work. But then I just end up doing it, you know what I mean?
Right.
But sorry.
You're like, no, you're good. Thank you for that. It makes me feel comfortable.
Okay, good.
I think I have 2 desserts in my wheelhouse. Like 2, I've got 2 in my toolbox that I can pull out at any time and be like, and you know, so I was on Top Chef.
Yeah.
And so my biggest fear being on that show was that I was going to have a dessert challenge, right? Because I have 0 skills in pastry. And so I tried to learn these like 2 desserts so I could be like, if I get stuck in a pinch, I can pull them out. But you know, desserts, it's super fun if you have the time to do it.
Yes.
Right?
Time.
Like,
time.
so I'm like one of these focused, you know, like I want to get things done. I want to go. And pastry is a little more methodical and time consuming. So that never really fit for me.
Yeah, time is, that's very important.
Yeah.
And patience.
So see, I have no patience.
Which is very,
Are you struggle with patience?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So you start off with like big bites, kind of get everybody kind of focused on the meal. Yeah. And then what does the progression look like to you?
And then
how many courses
so right now I should start with that. Right now, so we have 3 snacks, and then we have after that we have first course, entree, and then dessert.
So it's like it's 4 courses, but you're getting 7 dishes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, if and because it's only 4 courses, I straight up give you a seafood. You know, if it was a little longer, I'll probably do vegetables. I love vegetables. Yeah. So I'll probably do vegetables, but you know, I also want people to feel, you know, I don't want to have the first course be a vegetable because then people be like, this is, you know, too expensive. I don't want you to go home and be hungry.
Right.
I want you to go home like feeling that you ate good, you know, not that you're not overfull. You know, I hate that feeling. You go home, you're like, oh my God, I can't, you know, tomorrow's gonna suck for me. And it does, you know, like it's not pretty. So.
Right. Yeah. So 4 courses, always a fish.
Yeah, always a fish.
Do you always do a protein? Do you always do a meat course?
Yeah, we always do meat. Or right now in the summer we're doing fish because it's so hot.
So fish is your main course.
Exactly. So right now we have a lot of seafood on the menu. So first course is a scallop. The entrees is a fish, and then you know in the winter we might change it. Have you know a duck, or in the fall I'd say duck, or you know we have poultry in the past if it's like a really cooked, you know, really badass presentation or really badass, like, you know, dish, not just like a chicken breast. I think that's too easy for
Right.
for a tasting menu. You know, people
Sure.
won't expect more than
Unless
that,
you can
so.
nail it.
Exactly, unless it's the
Yeah.
perfect. You know,
I mean,
chicken,
I
which
got thrown
some
off at
perfect-
Top Chef twice for cooking chicken. So I'm
Right,
like, I'm
so-
thinking I might not even cook chicken anymore
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my restaurant. I might just give it up
Yeah.
altogether.
Which season were you on?
So I was on 14. So I was
Okay.
on, the first season was the Charleston season.
Okay.
And then I was on All Stars, which was 16 or 17
Okay.
or something like that.
Cool.
Like a couple years ago.
Okay.
Years ago. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't watch Top Chef.
I mean, I never did either. I never did either. I actually didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
would you ever do something like
I
that?
have a funny story.
Yeah.
So we were opening a restaurant in San Francisco. I told you I was
Yeah.
opening a friend of mine, and they hire this restaurant group. It was a group that they will kind of like help with the opening. You know, like a management
Yeah.
group and
Like a
the-
task force kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the CEO, he had really good connections with Top Chef, and he knew the director of casting, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
and he asked my buddy, he's like, "Hey, you should do this." It was Top Chef in Chicago.
Okay.
You should do this, and he's like, "Well, we opening a restaurant. I can't just do that, you know." And he said, "You know, how about Orlando?" And I was like, "No, like I don't do well in this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I don't like that. I don't like, you know, once there's like I get really nervous. I deal with anxiety and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm doing good today. I've been drinking since 9 in the morning for this today. So I'm just kidding.
So that's the medicine
yeah,
for it.
exactly. So you know, I said no, I don't want to do this. And then like 2 days after that, I received a phone call, and this lady, she's like, "I'm so and so. I'm the casting director for Top Chef."
You're like,
Chicago.
"What happened?
Why do you want to do it?" And I was like, "I don't want to."
Yeah.
do
How did you get my
Like,
number?
yeah, exactly. I said,
Where
"I
did you
don't
come
wanna
from?
Do this? I don't want to do it. Like it's just not for me. You know,
Yeah.
it's not for me. We did. Remember one time we did this. It was for Food and Wine in San Francisco. We did kind of like an Iron Chef kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was so nervous, like I can't, you know, I was really nervous. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, I just get my anxiety level goes
Yeah.
really through the roof. You know, if we're in here, we're in the kitchen, I feel more comfortable. But once you take me out, I'm that. When I do stage, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like
You get super nervous when you're
I
on
don't
the
want to
stage.
touch anything. I
Yeah.
don't want to screw anything up. You
Yeah.
know, I stand in a corner like, you know, I'll pick this up. You know, that's.
That's funny. I remember the first time I was in the Top Chef kitchen, I was shaking so bad, like I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I don't get nervous, and my anxiety is very like chefy, like, you know, it's like before service, you know, I get like butterflies in my stomach and I get all like amped up and excited. But I remember that experience. I was terrified, like legitimately, just like, oh my God, I'm about to make a total ass out of myself in front of the entire country.
Yes.
You know, it's like there's no coming back from this.
No.
Yeah. But then you just succumb to it eventually. You're like, all right, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't live this way. So I gotta just do my thing. That's funny. That kind of like anxiety and stress and stuff that you feel. Do you have like some empathy for people that come stage for you? Like, has that changed some of your approach to hiring and training and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, 100%. I do. I feel, you know, and all this, you know, it's like one of those things that I always say, the best and the worst thing ever happened to me is having MS, you know? Mm-hmm. The worst, of course, is it fucking sucks. It sucks a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it affects people differently. You know, affects me in my vision. You know, my legs get tingly. I forget a lot of things, and it's part of it. You know, if I don't write it down, it's gone. So I have a lot of notes on my phone. I have a lot of notes in my notebooks. You know, and that's the worst. But the good thing was, you know, I'll say I hit rock bottom. It was a different rock bottom. You know, it's not like when you're an alcoholic or you know, drug addict. It was a rock bottom, you know, like mentally. You know, I deal with anxiety. It just something that just started happening. It never happened before. I remember.
When did that start for you?
Exactly. Remember, you know, I was before moving to San Francisco. It was like 3 or 4 days before I went to Puerto Rico, and I was talking. You know, I was hanging out with my family. I was really nervous because I was gonna meet my dad for the first time. I was gonna talk to him in about 14 years, 16 years. We're trying to get, you know, our relationship back on track. So that anxiety was there, and I was like, wow, this is new to me. But then after, when I flew from Puerto Rico to Miami, I had this thing that I never felt before. It was on the plane, and I was having a lot of anxiety. I was like, I'm about to lose my shit right now.
Like, what was happening? Like, were you like getting
Yeah,
like,
I
all,
was like, I needed to get out. You know, I was in
Yeah.
the plane, and I was that
It's
guy.
like panic
I was,
mode kind of
yeah,
thing?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I was sitting, but at the same time, I was like, I feel like if I open this door, I can just jump and land on something soft, and I'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
your head is, and you know, all this stuff, and then,
Wow.
and then that stayed in my head for years, for a long time. You know, I remember driving, because we drove from Miami to San Francisco. I remember driving and thinking like, I'm going crazy. Like, I'm going crazy. This is not okay.
Yeah.
And all I did was like, good old Latino man, just
Yeah.
fucking push it down. You know, push it down. And you know, it was not. It was maybe like 3 or 4 years after that I just kind of had like a breakdown. You know, and I remember going to work. Like, I was like, I don't want to work. And I was like, I don't want to go to work. And my brain was all foggy and everything until service. You know, once service hits, I was like, this is it. I'm happy. This is my happy mode.
Yeah.
You know, I forget about the world. I forget about everything. So, you know, I finally started taking therapy, and I was pretty lucky. You know, I met the therapist that I went to was the first guy I saw, and I saw him for a long time, probably 8 years, and that helped me. You know, and this is when I said it's the best thing happened, because it helped me to open my mind and kind of like be more compassionate about people. And we all go through shit. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a saying, I forgot his name, he's a comedian, his wife passed a couple of years ago, but, you know, she used to tell him, you know, be kind, you know, because there's chaos out there, something like that. And I always, you know, and to me that is true. You know, we don't know what we go through. You don't know what somebody else goes through, and that's something that, you know, when people come and work here, I try very hard to get to know them for who they are, you know, where they come from and all the stuff, because I feel like we can connect somehow in there. That aspect of it helped me out to kind of open my mind and be more compassionate about people.
Did that work with the therapist? Is there any tools or tricks that you learned to handle stress or anxiety that you know other cooks or chefs could learn from?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
tools to kind of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I don't do well when I fly. I don't, you know, it's I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I take one too many Xanax, and I you know,
just wake up when you get there.
I feel bad for my wife because she has to deal with me and my two
You're
kids.
just like,
So yeah, I'm like drooling like an asshole. She actually taking pictures of me, like just my head down and just drool like coming down, you know.
We're gonna have to reach out to her and see if we can get one of those pictures for our little thumbnail for this episode.
So one of the things that I do is breathing exercises. Like, you know, people are like, oh, breathing, yeah, it is, you know. It's like, you got to learn how to breathe from your stomach. You know, you know, you want air to circulate in your brain. That's one of the things that I do is very important. And you know, I do this visualize like air coming through my nose. And then when I breathe out, for some reason, the air is blue. Like in the inside of me, I can see air and it's all red. And that's all the negativity, all the negative thoughts. And then when I breathe out, it comes on blue. And it's like clean, you know, I kind of cleaning my body. When I do that, I meditate, I like to touch my leg because it's like, it's my ground, like I'm here, you know. There's this really cool instrument that I bought. I think the brand name is Kuzu. Okay. It's a Japanese artifact. It looks like a whistle.
Okay.
It helps you to breathe. So a lot of people use that. I use that.
Do you breathe through it? Like, is
you
it
breathe through it? Yeah,
okay,
it kind of teach you how to breathe you know, properly. So I breathe through that. Another thing that I do is part of my symptoms is there's days that I wake up and I feel really depressed. You know, and I tell myself today is gonna be a better day. It's just today. You know, another thing that I do, I have it in my house. I usually carry a pebble. That's my secret. In my pockets, and then when I touch it, I think about the things that I'm grateful for. You know, and that's kind of something that it helps me kind of like restart and kind of like stop thinking about the negative. You know, and kind of think
all the shit that's out there or happening or whatever. It kind of grounds you back to where you're at.
Yeah, we're kind of going through a dark right now, right?
That's what we all do. I mean, My story is well documented, and
Yeah.
it ain't all like
Yeah.
rainbows and
Yeah.
gumdrops. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those subjects that it's like
But I think it's important to talk about because obviously you're doing very well, right? You have an awesome team. You have a great restaurant.
Thank
you
you.
guys
I try,
are.
yeah.
I mean, you guys are. I feel like you guys are really pushing the culinary scene in Charleston.
Thank you. I
Right now,
appreciate it.
100%. The dinner I told you before we started, the dinner that Corey and I had here, my fiance, was probably the best I've had in Charleston. And I ate at McCrady's when Sean was there. Like, I've eaten around. I'm a professional eater, and this was one of the best experiences we had. So it's important to kind of highlight some of those difficulties, and struggles that people have, because they are temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying with the rock and the breathing and stuff, is like it gets you back to kind of your center, and all that stuff is temporary.
Yeah,
It
is.
It sucks for a while, but based on your decision making and your thought process, you can turn it around, and sounds like you're kind of a testament to that story.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I still struggle. I mean, it's something that is never going to go away. I remember talking to my therapist, and I'm like, how do you make it go away? And, one time joking, I'm like, you're a pretty shitty therapist if it's not going to go away,
Yeah.
But
it's just job security.
Exactly.
It's like, I've
yeah.
got you forever.
Exactly. But it was one of those things that you learn to manage, you learn to manage it. The first time I met Sean, when I got hired at McCrady's Tavern, I met Sean. I mean, we clicked right away because our thing was like mental health, like how do you approach it? And he will ask me the same thing because, it's one of those things that it's, like we were talking earlier, like it was a taboo, people would think, this person is crazy, like stay away from them, kind of things like that. And, and it's not, we all have shitty time, man. We all have shitty moments. And, if you're not here, for example, my favorite baseball player of all time is Roberto Clemente. He's Puerto Rican, and he was a huge humanitarian, and he has a quote that he says, if you're in the earth, I'm gonna fucking butcher this thing, so
it's okay.
I hope I see him one day when I die. He's like, dude, you fucked that up. But he basically said, if you're not on the earth, to help people, like you wasting your time. If you don't help people, something like that, you're wasting your time. And I feel like, we all suffer. We all have shitty times. Like if I see you, let me just lend a hand. So,
I feel like a lot of what you guys do here is rooted in hospitality. Like it truly is a hospitality experience. It's not just about a tasting menu with creative dishes, though they are, but the team is all kind of unified in this kind of hospitality focus.
Yes.
I mean, we felt it. The staff, the service staff were super friendly.
Yeah.
They were not pushy at all. They were very comfortable and kind. I remember you guys, the chefs, delivered many of the dishes and talked to us about what the dishes were and all that kind of stuff, which was a nice touch, and you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. Why do you guys do that? Why is that part of your approach?
Yeah, so this whole idea came up because we were just tired of, I don't know if it was tired or bored, but we wanted to be different. We wanted to have the kitchen kind of be more involved with service. We wanted, if you think about it, you work, you work at Daniel, right? So, for example, I've been to Daniel, and the best experience that I never forget was like Chef Daniel sat with me and my wife at the time, and we enjoyed a bottle of wine together, and I asked him some questions about the food, and 100% I'm sure he didn't know, what was in there, but he kind of like told us and walked us through. So, to me, that was like the experience. That was like, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that experience. So we wanted to kind of provide some kind of experience like that to the guests. You come in and you have one of the cooks, one of the chefs coming in, bring you a dish, kind of explain you through it, like, this is how we do it. This is the person that's cooking your food. That is really cool because, and let's be honest, a lot of people, they think we're rock stars. We're a bunch
people
of,
love chefs right now. I don't know,
man. I don't know, because we're just a bunch of uneducated people. We're people
totally.
that
We eat.
exactly.
We eat.
We could not like work with normal people. Like, you
Right.
know, I can't see myself in an office. Just I can't. The things that come out of my mouth, I'll be fired a long time ago.
Yes.
So this is our safe environment. So I don't know why people think that we are like.
So why
you
an
know,
open
rock
kitchen?
stars,
What
right?
are you doing? I walked in here and sat down in the open kitchen. We'll get some pictures of it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy's got some balls. Like
No,
having
it's-
like
yeah.
everything open to the dining room.
Yeah, no, it keeps us in check, but we keep it fun, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like we just joke, and it's like this is who we are. You know, we're not hiding behind it. You know, this is who we are. This is it. This
I remember
is
it being super quiet too. Like you guys are very quiet.
sometimes.
Like,
Probably because you were in front of the kitchen, so we wanted to impress you.
Yeah, maybe.
That's probably what it was. Yeah.
like,
but-
okay, no slamming anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but you know, it's.
So is
honestly-
that not normal? Is it not?
No, it's not normal. I mean, we're quiet a lot of times, but a lot of times we're having a good time.
Yeah.
We're joking. We're talking about sports. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of times we all like different sports team, which is great. So we all talk.
Kind of
shit.
get on each other a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of times it get really loud. Like, you know, we don't talk to each other for a little bit, but it's fine. You know, but it's, you know, honestly, we just have fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun kitchen. It's
Yeah.
really fun. So.
Cool. It looks fun.
Yeah.
I want to come stage with you one night.
You should.
I want to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come hang out.
You should.
See.
Just don't touch anything.
Yeah, I won't.
Okay.
We were joking about that
Yeah,
before too.
yeah.
Like my skills are kind of a
Yeah,
little,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
a little shaky now. I'm not on the line every day. Is there any kind of like underlying theme or idea that you're trying to communicate through your menus and your food here
Yeah.
that you're trying to like reach people with, or is it just kind of an organic thing whenever you guys are kind of feeling like,
Yeah.
or is there like something? Is there some sort of ethos or?
Honestly, it's more like you say. It works more organically. You know, the menu goes, and this sounds cheesy, wherever you want to take us. You know? Yeah, we do. You know, we sit down when we are going to talk about menu changes, and you know, it's like, what do you want to eat right now? You know, what do you feel passionate about? And I know we were talking about this earlier. I feel when you want to eat something, you feel very passionate about something. At that moment, you're gonna put 100% effort. You know, so I let it go wherever it take us. You know, this is, you know, remember when you were younger, like people will tell you, there's no, what is it, stupid or dumb idea.
Yeah,
like it's
dumb
truly-
questions or stupid.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, sometimes like, you know, we have stuff on the menu that I would never thought in my craziest dream to put it on the menu, you know, and we do.
Yeah.
You know, like one dish, for example, and I think this is when it was just me and my sous chef. We had this fish, and we thought about this, having an avocado toast. And, you know, we made a fava toast. And, I mean, it was this fish. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was made of faveta, like a fava bean kind of thing. And we did this toast, and, you know, and it was on the bread, and we had bread and fish. And, you know, it was kind of like, it was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, because avocado toasts are delicious. I hate to admit it because I feel like every girl in California gets avocado
Hey,
toast. Like
I've
my
got
wife
avocado
loves
toast on our brunch menus at the
Yeah.
restaurant.
So I love it. You know, I love avocado toast. So it was one of those things that, you know, I don't think I ever, you know, it's one of those things that when I was younger,
Yeah.
I never thought about it, but, you know, it kind of, I think it helped me open my mind more to do kind of things like this. And it works. It works really well, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I guess, you know, the message that we trying to bring to the guests is it's just fun, you know. It's just enjoy what you do. Just as long as you put an effort, like
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay. You know,
What's the most important thing about putting a dish together when you and your
Yeah.
team are around the table and you guys are flushing out ideas and
Yeah.
like let's say like the avocado toast, right, or whatever,
Yeah.
that you get your concept and you're like, okay, we have a thought that we want
Yes.
to pursue. What is the most important thing to you about that dish?
So
Like-
there's three things, right? There's three things, you know, and it doesn't have to go in this specific order, but that we think of. Number one, visual, you know, and we with our eyes, you know, like it has to look cool,
Yeah.
or, you know, whatever it might be, it has to have some kind of visual to it. It can't just be like something that you're like, come on.
Right.
So it has to look good, visual. Number two, smell. Like, it needs to have a wow factor, like, you know, when it reaches in front of you, like you're already smelling something. What it might be, like it could be spice or whatever it might be that is, you're smelling this. So, right now, if it looks good, we eat with our eyes. So you're like, oh man, that looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be delicious. Like your mind is already going like, oh, this is going to look good.
Mm-hmm.
This looks good. It's going to taste good. Number 2, smell. Tastes good. I want to get your taste buds going. I want to get you salivating. So if I did a good job with the visual, you're salivating already. With the nose, you just kind of salivating, and of course, taste. It needs to taste good. The most important thing. So that's the 3 aspect that we are thinking when we're putting a dish together.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do you have any secret weapons in your toolbox, like to get to hit any of those notes? Like, what are you got any secret?
Yeah, I mean, we all do.
Or like a cool technique that you guys kind of use to get one of those things working. Now, maybe as soon as you walked out, I'll be like, oh man, this was a one. But now, I can't really think about now. We just, I'm just one of those people that, I don't try to push it. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. I try like 1 or twice, and when something's not gonna work, and you're like, I'm gonna make this. I will abandon a dish very quickly.
Yeah.
If because it's like I'll get an idea. Like I think I work similar to you in a way where I like to create from a place that is recognizable to my guests. Yes. Something that's going to evoke a memory for them, something that they have an expectation for.
Exactly.
I like to, that's usually where my ideas come from. I'm like, okay, like an avocado toast. Yeah. How am I going to do this different or neat or whatever? And then I'll try putting it together, and I can tell very quickly if I'm going to be able to evolve with it. Yeah. Because I'll put it together and be like, "Whoa, this is not working at all." And I scrap it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm more stubborn than you. I'll probably try like twice, and I'm like, "This is let me one more time." I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it's not going to work. But not really. I mean, I feel like.
Do you ever let your chefs taste the first go?
I do. They always taste it. I care a lot about what they have to say, and I feel like we're in a place that I know them for a long time. So if they don't like it, they tell me. I feel like they're very honest. I don't like when somebody's like, "Oh man, that's good." I know it's not good. Don't.
You're like, I actually burnt the skin and put way too much.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I know it's not good.
I like, sometimes I can see it's like, well, I think I was like, just fucking speak your mind, dude.
Yeah. Tell me
what is it? Like, it's not, like I don't, what is it? And they're like, well, it's pretty bad. And I'm like, well, you're fired.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
But we're, we have really good relationship with all the guys that, they taste. The first thing I do, they taste it, and they tell me, I think it needs this, I think it needs that, and then that's how, I remember as a young cook, chef will do all the menu changes, and that was it. There was nothing, this is how it is, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it, it's whatever, deal with it. And as a young cook, I always thought, I had ideas, so I always thought, why you don't ask your staff, they're people too, they're reading, they like food, they know food, so it's like why you don't talk to them, so and they taste it, and and they always have their ideas, and we'll put them together, so hopefully it will work. So.
Right. That's good. I was just thinking about you mentioned, like, I don't remember ever tasting a dish when I was a young cook from one of the chefs I worked for until it was like on the menu. I don't think I was never a part of the process at that stage.
You got to invest in your people. You got to invest in your people. If you don't invest in them, then I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's hard to find staff, or I keep doing this and that. So, well, like a lot of times when I see there's turnover, I look at me first. I'm like, am I doing a good job? Am I giving these people the tools to succeed? Or I'm part of the problem,
right?
Because you got to start with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then what are we doing?
Did you ever suffer from that earlier in your career as a leader and as a chef, like not being particularly a good leader, and having turnover and stuff like that? Like what kind of leader were you?
I did at the beginning. When I first started being, kind of like being in charge of a kitchen. It wasn't as bad, to be honest. The turnovers were not that bad. I come from a very kind of loving family. My family, we're all together. To me, it's normal to care about people.
Yeah.
So I was always being very caring. But I know there will be parts for me, especially, when I get upset. I used to be one of those people that hold things, and then it was like explode. I mean,
Right.
So some of the guys here, they haven't worked for me in the past.
Yeah.
Some they have, so they love to like tell stories. I just walk away because they think it's funny. To me, sometimes I feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
I fully understand.
I lost my shit. I remember just smacking sheet pans or throwing things across. Throwing food at people, and it's it's like you do it, and I always hated that feeling going back home, like, man, what an ass.
I think that is a common that is common for chefs, especially chefs. I think of our generation, right? Because we learned a more aggressive style of leadership, and you worked for some very intense places, and I think we forget sometimes, right, that it's just food. Yeah, right. It's like we're feeding people. Like we're here to take care of people.
It's just food.
Like, why are you getting so angry?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it feels like, and I think a lot of that partly is because we put ourselves in that position, right? It's like you're doing something that's like a service that's unachievable, right? You drop 100 guests at the same time. Well, you know what? That service is going to be rough.
Yeah.
And I think having that understanding that it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Yeah. For people that are kind of artful when they do, you want everything to kind of hit all the marks. Yes. And it's easy to get frustrated and angry, and sometimes we just got to remember, it's food. It's food, man.
It is, and I think the older I get, I'm in my mid-40s now. The older I get, the less I care what people think about me. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but for example, when you're younger, I feel like as a chef, this is my craft. This is I'm opening myself. I'm being very vulnerable. This is what I can do, and then people just shit on it or whatever it might be, or a cook was not paying attention and they just like, because they were being lazy or whatever it might be, and they screw it up, and then that's when you get upset, and a lot of times, I hate when people just go on social media or Yelp, whatever the hell, and they start like reviewing things, and you're like, I hate you, or whatever. You know what I mean? That's why I don't read reviews, because it's like, I'm putting myself out there. This is my craft. This is our craft. This is my guy's craft. This is what they do, and they care a lot. They put 100% effort every single day. So I see the effort, and then somebody might just say something negative. Be constructive, That's what I always said. If you're gonna say something negative, just say why or whatever it might be.
Be constructive. Give us something that we can improve on.
Exactly.
Like, don't just be a hater,
Yeah, I don't go. I don't go to you're a doctor. I don't go to the doctor's office and I tell you what to do. You know what I mean? Like, I trust you. Like, trust us. This is what we do. So,
Yeah, totally. I talk about that a lot, actually, and I've actually had on the podcast. I had the food critic for in Charlotte for years. I actually don't have a food critic anymore, but we had a really good conversation about this whole culture of critiquing and reviews and all that, and it's wild, the entitlement that a lot of people feel, and they don't. I don't really think a lot of times it has to do with the experience that people had. It's more like this, this need to share their opinions of something.
Yes.
Right? Because many times, like we read reviews. I don't read them because I'll go crazy.
I don't. Yeah.
But we have people that review the reviews, and they look through them for tidbits of information that we can use to improve.
Yes.
And then sometimes we joke about the totally ridiculous.
I know there's a lot.
There's a lot of ridiculous stuff out there, and how you're ruining people's days with the way you oversalted their broth or something. Yeah. I'm like, come on. Like, really? Like, that ruined your day. Yeah, exactly. That's what did it?
That's
the salt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel bad for you. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that bothers me about that, and I'm curious, do you ever run into issues in the dining room with the food and guests? Like, do you ever have you crash a dish or something and guest doesn't like it, or?
It happens, but not. If it happens, kind of hear about it later on a
Yeah.
review. You know what I mean?
Got
Like,
you.
I feel
You don't get a lot of real time like
No.
send backs to the kitchen kind of thing.
no, and you know, I think it's because of the style of service. You know, like we can spend time doing something. You know, it's not like we're extremely busy. It's a small restaurant. You know, we have 4 cooks back there, you know, cooking for 30 people. You know,
Yeah.
And it's
Do you
like
do
we
30 covers a night? Do you do one seating or do you?
No, we do multiple seatings. So we do on weekends. So Friday, Saturday, we do 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then we do 12 people per seating.
Okay.
You know, and it's like all at the same time.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yep.
together. So we have time to kind of put an effort on a dish and make sure it's like
It's a very like
well done.
measured, controlled service.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Exactly. But
I forget what that's like.
No, I mean it is. You know, it is. It's something that it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome. You know, we all been in those restaurants that it's like super busy. You know.
You
like,
should come stash with
I-
us. You
like
should
I-
come stash
yeah,
with us one
I
night.
I've ate in your restaurants.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really busy. You know.
Yes.
And now as an older guy, I'm like, I mean, I'll say older, but
Yeah.
in my 40s, I'm like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in
Yeah.
the kitchen right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do those numbers anymore. And we
Right.
do it here when we do events. You know, but
Yeah.
it's like we know what's coming. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, tickets coming in after ticket after ticket.
It's a different type of stress and exhaustion to do volume.
Yeah.
Like with volume, it's physically grueling. You know, it's that whole like what people would envision, you know, a crazy kitchen from
Yeah.
Kitchen Confidential to be, right? It's like hot, shit's flying around the kitchen, people are falling down. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like there's water everywhere. It's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
it's a total just
Yeah.
shit show. And I feel like the kind of stress and stuff that your type of service is a lot more like measured, but it's about making sure that each dish and component is proper and correct
Yeah.
and focused on, and that's exhausting. Like to
Yeah.
put that much attention, to have that much attention for, you know, 6 hours.
Yes.
Right. Like you got to carry it all the way through service. Can like just drain your mind. Right.
It
Like,
is. It is. For me personally, I always look at people. You know, I'm like a creeper. I'm in the corner when I
Yeah.
see the food. I'm looking at this person.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
let's see how they react. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm always, when I walk around the dining room, I'm always like looking, see what, you know, I'm not like in their face, like, you gonna eat that? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I'm walking around, see their reactions, you know, when they grab a bite or kind of things like that. And to me, that's like, it's very important because, I mean, you can't, like I'll say, you can say something, but your body language is not gonna lie.
Right.
It's just not gonna lie. You
Sure.
can say, oh, this was great, but I saw your face. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think you like that bite or whatever it might be. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always paying attention, like what people are doing, you know. What were the reactions when they take the first bite? And to me, it's very stressful because I want to, you know, I want people to have a good time. You know, I want them to enjoy their meal. You know, it's like, you know, I always, especially, you know, when you're a young cook, you're always broke. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, you know, eating ramen noodles or, you know, the little box crap, hot dogs and things like that. And I feel it's important, you know, in a way. And
Sure.
I think when I was younger, I would go to a really nice restaurant, and I remember, you know, it's funny, we talk about it all the time, like looking at the menu, and I'm like, okay, so I have $120 in my bank account right now, so if I get this and that, and then, you know, the person across from you, like, oh, I'm thinking I'm going to get the lobster. Like, no.
You're like,
not getting the
oh,
lobster.
no.
You're getting the pasta and
Yeah.
the salad, you know.
We're drinking tap water.
Exactly.
Huh?
So, you know, no bottles,
yeah,
you know. And I remember that. I remember like going to restaurants and be disappointed. And I'm like, man, like I worked very hard for my money, and then I came here and I was like, oh, and I had a really bad meal. So for me, it's very important that when people come in,
Yeah.
they want to have a good time because I don't know what their situation is. I don't
Yeah.
know it. Maybe this is once every 3 months they can
Yeah.
afford this. You know, now that I have kids.
Maybe it's once a year.
Maybe once
Maybe
a
it's
year.
their special.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, now that I have kids, I know on top of whatever I'm paying for meal, you know, for my meal, it's the Uber.
Yeah.
Because when I eat, I drink, you know, so I don't want to drive. So, and then on top of that, I have my babysitter.
Yep.
So before the
It's
meal,
a commitment. It's an investment.
yeah, I'm already like almost $200 down.
Yeah.
Because I'm, you know, and I know how it is. So I want to make sure that, you know, when you leave here, you're like, man, this is a great experience. Not just the food, great experience. You know, we have like service staff is amazing. Like it's a really cool family. We just keep it fun.
Yeah. You guys are nailing it for sure. So you should be proud of that.
Thanks.
All right, so we're at an hour, and I know you got to get ready for service, but I have some quick fire questions for you.
I don't do things anymore.
You don't know?
Let's be honest.
You're good.
I just
You're
walk
good.
around.
Do you do the roll-ups?
Yeah.
Do you do the roll-ups for like the plates?
Yeah,
That's
it's
like my
exactly
pet peeve.
that.
I walk in, I'm like, where are the damn tasting spoons?
Yeah.
Hey, do we have roll-ups over here, guys?
Yeah.
Like, how am I? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I got good at doing the roll-ups.
They prep, they cook, I take the credit.
There you go.
No, I'm kidding.
Answer some quick fire questions for me.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What do you think is the most underrated ingredient?
Underrated ingredient.
Everybody talks about foie gras and truffles and all
Yeah.
the,
No, I think-
what is the most underrated?
I think it might be a group.
Okay.
Acid. My
Acid?
opinion, acid.
Yeah.
I feel like acid is something that you can either ruin or make a dish. You know, like a lot of times, like you put acid on a sauce, it's gonna bring it up. You put acid on, anything. You
Yeah.
know, like I feel lemon juice is one of those things that people don't realize. That I love seasoning with acid.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that. You mentioned foie gras. Let's think about foie gras right now. You have a really good dish, foie gras. Everything is rich.
Yep.
You don't put any acid in there.
Yeah, it's
and,
just flat.
It's exactly.
It's just like eating a meat butter.
Yeah.
You need that acid.
You need it, yeah.
I talk with a lot of people, like my cooks and stuff, when we're in the chefs, when we're talking about developing dishes and flavors and stuff. Acid, salt, like bitterness. Bitterness is. I always shoot for. I want a complete flavor wheel.
Yes.
In a bite, right? So like, if there isn't bitterness, I'm like, oh, maybe we got to char that bread a little bit more. Maybe you got to put a little carbon on that, whatever. I don't think people think about that.
Yeah.
And that was really important for me as a young cook. Like when I was working for Andrew Carmelini, it was about creating your cooking voice, but you had to understand the language.
Yes.
Right? Like everybody wants to be a chef. Everybody wants to create. Everybody wants to be, have their own cooking voice. But like, if you don't understand the language, you're just talking out your ass.
Exactly.
You gotta understand how these flavors work together, how they do that. That's good. I like it.
Yeah.
There can only be one flavor of ice cream left on earth. What flavor?
Dulce de leche.
Dulce de leche.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I love it.
Who's the favorite person you've cooked for? That you've had to. It could be anybody. It could be a group of people too.
Yeah. It's an interesting question because I cooked. I cooked for. Bill Clinton. I cooked for in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
for
you got all
these
kinds
guys.
of people.
Elon. Zuckerberg. All these people. I went to houses like. This building was like their guest room.
Yeah.
But I feel. It's a tough one because it's has to be it's a combination of like my family, my cooks. I always want to do more when it's like my cooks, my staff.
Yeah.
I always want to do more. I want to like
The people that are close to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to show them something they haven't seen. So I feel like that's when I put the most pressure on myself. Is those people, and also people that I know that they don't. It's weird. I don't know if you can understand, but people that they don't do this often. My family doesn't do this often. They don't go out very often to eat. But I have this memory. When I was the chef at Ame, it was an open kitchen, and I remember I saw this kid. It was probably like a high school kid or something. It was obviously he was super nervous with this girl. They were, this restaurant was really nice and
Fish out of water. There's like
exactly.
Whoa,
yes,
what
yes.
are we
You know
doing?
those people,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. I've been those people. I remember being that person.
And I was like, I was, I was that person too. And I was like, I'm gonna do something nice for this kid.
Yeah.
And I just started sending food. I even talked to the guy like he was my buddy. He was very impressed. I hope that worked out for him.
Yeah. His girl was so impressed.
Oh my God,
She's like, you know the chef?
Yes.
Who are you?
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. So, and I remember that's like for me, I was like, this is the kind of people that I want to cook for.
Yeah.
I want to make sure he has a good time. And I will never forget that. Like I remember his face, like he was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, how do I know you? But I was like, hey man, good to see you. You know, I kept bringing food, and I remember they order like, we had this sashimi bar in the restaurant, and they order like, I mean, it was like a salad and like very, very simple, you know, and I just got like a sashimi plate, and I put in front of them, and then I think I shared some truffles and things like that. But that's the kind of people that I like.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy to cook for, you know. So.
Nice. What food item is your guilty pleasure? What's your thing?
Oh man, I have
like
a lot of stuff.
You have a lot?
Yeah,
that's good to know. I'm not the only one.
No, I mean, if my guys were here, oh my god, I like eating raw pasta.
Okay, that's
rice.
weird.
Raw rice is weird.
Yep,
yeah,
that's weird. What else you got there, Chef? Do you eat stuff when it's cooked, or do you just prefer it like before it's cooked? Like, what's that about?
I do that. I have a bag of white chocolate in the fridge that every time I go in the fridge, I grab like 2 or 3 pieces.
Yeah, just little morsels of white chocolate.
Yeah, I eat a lot of things like that. Like you know, like I don't sit and have a meal.
Right.
Like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
you graze. You kind of snacking.
Yeah,
like.
I just snack. You know, and it's hard for me now because I don't eat gluten or dairy. It's been 8 years. You know.
Yep.
I did it for my illness, make me feel better. For those chefs out there, don't worry, I'm not gonna be like I'm gluten free, either free allergy. Nah. I just push it aside, or I just eat at the time. But yeah, raw pasta, rice. You know, we have a ramen bowl right now, so every time I walk by the line, I grab a piece of the ramen like raw, you know, eat it. Yeah, I do kind of weird things like that. So
yeah. I told you that story. I'll share it with these people. Like the Cirio Macchione story from Le Cirque was the raw artichokes.
Yeah,
which I was like, you know, if anybody's had a raw artichoke, they're like extremely bitter.
Yeah,
and just like
I can feel it right now.
Yeah,
you know,
it dries your tongue out and makes your tongue just want to like jump out of your body, basically. But yeah, he used to snack on those all the time. I was like, this guy is like some sort of like from another planet or something. I don't know.
That's a fear factor. So.
Yeah. So what thing about you would surprise people the most to find out? Like what's your
Yeah, you know, I'm very open. So a lot of people, you know, this is what you get, you know.
Yeah.
I like doing charity, but that's, you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I maybe that I don't eat gluten or dairy. I mean, people are like, how do you cook this? You know, I cook sourdough. I love cooking sourdough bread a lot. You know.
Why? Do you eat it?
No, I don't.
So what do you love about that?
What I love about it is it's to see people's reaction. You know what I mean? Like it's my daughter loves when I make bread. You know, it's the reaction, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it fills me up, you know, on the inside. It's like it's kind of like my drug, I guess. But I'm very open about it. I'm open about my mental health, you know, all this stuff, you know, that a lot of times when people see me and they hear that I have MS, they're like, what? No, how? You know, but I don't see it. But you know, that's why they call it the invisible illness, because you don't see it.
Right.
Know? I'm pretty open. You know.
Yeah.
I'm very. You know, I was not in the past. You know, something that I've learned to do. You know, so.
What caused you to become more open? Like what triggered that? You know, if you're kind of closed off and bottled up in the past as a young person, what was that? Just getting older and maturing, or was it related?
Yeah, I think it's a combo. I think it's a combo of, you know, like being more mature, being a father.
Yeah.
100%, because I want my kids to be better than me.
Yeah.
And I think it's a combination of all that, you know, life events and all the stuff that happened, you know, and like I want people to learn from my mistakes. I want people to learn from me. I remember being, you know, sitting on a couch in San Francisco in my apartment, in my freaking 10 by 10 apartment, and just kind of thinking about pros and cons of life, you know, and be like, okay, is it worth it to live or it's not? That's a bad place, man. That's a place that I don't want to see anybody. You know? I remember how how I heard, how I was hurting, and it was like, and I was very, like, it was just me, like nobody knew about it. It was just me, and that was it, and I know it sucks.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people go through it. I know a lot of people in the industry go through it. So that's why I'm always like very open about it. Have people, social media hit me up asking me about multiple sclerosis. Like, I just got diagnosed. Like, am I gonna die? Things like that. I'm like, no, you're not gonna die. It's gonna suck. I'm not gonna tell you that it's gonna be like a happy walk, because it's not. But you're not alone. So that's why I feel like I'm more open now.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I don't want to blow your cover here, but we were talking before we started about some things you got cooking in the future. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, of course.
What do you got going on?
All right. So we are opening 2 locations at the Jasper. I'm going to be heading one of them, which I'm really, really excited about. It's going to be more like a market. So, we're going to have a lot of fresh juices, a lot of salads, kind of sandwiches, but we're going to focus more on like a healthy kind of side of it, kind of grab and go things. We, right now I'm just working on the menu right now. Like, it's not, the menu is not finalized. This is going to happen maybe like 6 months from now.
Okay.
But, there's going to be like a couple slotty sandwiches, for the dudes that are hungover, from the nights before.
I think I see plenty of them wandering around the halls of the Jasper.
Right?
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see when it's like Sunday mornings whenever we open the restaurant. I see what they leave behind in the sidewalks. Yeah, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be it's a very exciting thing. I'm looking forward to it. It's something new that I've never done. This is the kind of food that I eat now. I watch what I'm eating. I like to eat on the healthier side. Number one, because I don't lose as weight as fast as I used to anymore.
Right. But
it makes me feel good. It makes my body feel good. And this is what we're going to cater to. The clientele. It's more healthier side. Grab and go kind of cool things like that. So
nice.
That's very exciting.
And so you're looking at, will it be open this year, you think, or maybe?
I think it might be
beginning of 20.
Yeah, either late 2022, early 23. So,
awesome. And then what's the other concept?
Yeah, the other concept that is going to be Chef Vincent is going to be heading that one. Extremely talented chef. I think it might be. It's more like an Italian, upscale Italian cuisine.
Nice.
Which I think it will kill it there, and and he's just so talented. So I think it's gonna be amazing.
Awesome, man. Well, listen,
really cool.
I am super stoked about you talking with us. I had a blast getting to know you better. Keep doing what you're doing here. You guys are crushing it. I can't wait to come back. We'll talk real quick about your pop-ups that you do here. We mentioned that. I think Corey and I are going to come the last Sunday this month. But
so we do Puerto Rican pop-ups. We do them every year. The last Sunday of June, July, and August is more like street food, and it's really fun. It's a lot of fun. It's
How can people get tickets?
You can go to our website, wildcommoncharleston.com, and they go to Resi. Sorry, go to Resi and and make a reservation. We are also working. We're in the early stages to start doing farmers kind of dinner. Promoting the farmers from the area. We're gonna start with Duck Patch Farm, which is a farm owned by our banquet chef here. We're gonna start doing more collaborations and do tasting menu, and most every ingredient I will say is coming from his farm. So we're trying to do that. It's something that I've done in the past in the West Coast. Bring farmers in and kind of like have people talking to the farmers. Because a lot of people also they want to grow stuff in their own house, and farmers kind of help them with that stuff. And these people they work extremely hard. As you know.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, Corey and I did that briefly. And it's also great to educate people where their food's coming from.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Connecting people closer to the source of their food, I think, is part of our job as chefs now, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you and I both worked in restaurants where we had access to the best, most beautiful ingredients from anywhere in the world you can imagine, right? And
Yeah.
it would just show up on a magic
exactly.
truck, and you're like, whoa, these are the most perfect urchins that came from wherever.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays with, you know, the fuel problems and supply chain issues and all that kind of stuff, and just cooking locally, it's really important just to connect people or familiarize them with like what grows in your area and who's growing it.
Support this guy. Support the farmers. They're doing an awesome job. You know.
That's great. Anything else you wanna plug before we head out?
No, I mean, I just want to thank you guys for having me. This is very exciting.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, really cool. It's been an honor. You know, it's really cool to talk about all the things that, you know, that people don't like to talk about, you know. And it's if anybody listening is going through anything, just, you know, there's help out there. So it's easy to get it nowadays, even online. I mean, you can get therapy on your phone, which is really cool. So, you know, just get out there and just get better.
Take care of yourselves.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chef.
Cool.
I appreciate you, man.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, man. It's great.
Take care.
Cool. All right. Bye.
Bye.